Hello, everyone. I think we're live.
Oh.
Um, just trying to get everything put together. Hello. Um, Thanks for joining us. Looks like we have Marisha Johnson in the house, the Mexican, Matt Stanton, and Area 51 Morphs. Hello, you guys. So, tonight, what we wanted to do was talk a little bit about comments we've been getting. We've been
Hey,
overwhelmed.
Ramiro.
Uh, we've been overwhelmed and have not been too good getting back to everybody, and we're so sorry. So, um, what I want to do is discuss that a little bit, and what we're going to do is I'm actually looking for some comments that I got from somebody.
Kate Benton saying hi from the 505. Crystal Williams. Miss Catherine Dozier. Stephen Dingman's on saying what's up. So, Kate Benton, I think you might be the viewer that said you were from Albuquerque. So, let us know where all of you are from. Good to have you guys. So, just while he's doing that, a quick update. We've been working out in the yard all day. It's like crazy, windy, thunderstormy nuts. So, pardon my wild, wild hair. Iowa, very nice. So, yeah, first grade teacher. Okay, awesome, Kate. So, what school do you teach at? And wow, do you like first grade? Ooh, I teach middle school. I don't know. I like to pet the little kids and then be like, bye bye. Go back to your mommy teachers now because that's a lot of work. A lot of work. Anyway, so the Mexican is on. I know he's in Texas. Radiance just came on from Farmington. Dave Spiders and Things said, "What's up?" So Dave, everybody was just telling us where they're from. Let's see. Edward just came on. Catherine, a native granddad just came on. So where are you guys from, everybody? Are you looking on the
And
email?
I apologize, everybody. My phone decided that it just doesn't want to do what I'm trying to do. And I'm looking for a specific question that was asked about from Mrs. DTG. And I'm just trying to find it. It's about Grammostola pulchra, size of breeding. And the guy sent us a picture of his pulchra. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find that.
So I can remember one question off the top of my head. Somebody, and Cairo's getting big. Look how big he is for anybody who's been following what's going on with him. He got his leg broken, but he's still growing. He's still happy. He still gets around like a little rocket. He has to go back to the vet again in a few days and get a new cast. And he's still really happy. Oh, did you find the? Okay.
Yeah. So this is from Nelson Rodriguez, 925, and I actually asked him for permission to do this. Um, what he asked was, he says, please, hi DTG, please take a quick look at this female Grammostola pulchra and let me know when you think she would be ready to breed. In the pic, she ain't fully stretched out, as you can see. And then he sent a picture of the pulchra, and he's got a tape measure next to it, and it looks like the animal is getting close to a stretched out leg span of about 4 inches. So he was asking if that animal would be big enough to breed, and the answer is probably not. But if the opportunity came up, I would certainly try to breed it. That animal at 4 inches long is probably what, 5 years old.
Likely.
And in some of these species, it's not so much size as age, especially the slow growing species from North America, some of the South American species. They need to be a certain age, is what we're finding out, which we've just learned this year from Brachypelma smithi. We've been trying to breed smithi for together. Uh,
16 years, maybe?
no, I think we.
Oh, you mean be. Oh, I thought. Okay, I know what you
Since
mean.
you were in the beginning was about the 90s, so 20
Yeah.
some years. And
you're dating me. I mean, revealing my my youth.
So what we're finding out is that when we started doing this, or when she started doing this, and I've done it a little bit, was we were using animals that were too small. They were 4 to 5 inches long, which is the appropriate size for breeding Brachypoma smithii.
They were too young was the problem, even though they were the size.
Yep. And if this animal is as old as, if it's growing the same way that ours are, because we have some that are almost 5 years old and aren't even 3 inches yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that this one has a big potential of reproducing. I wish I could show you guys a picture, but I don't know how to bring it all up. Technology is not my best friend. But my point is that we've had versicolor that we thought were way too small and in the zoo, and we've gotten males mature, and then all of a sudden we don't breed the females because they're tiny, and they're fully colored, but they're only about 3.5 inches long instead of the 4 to 5, and they drop phantom egg sacs. So when it comes to spiders, only they're going to be able to tell if they're old enough or not. So if you have the opportunity, you need to go ahead and give it a shot, because the worst that can happen, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, but for the most part, you're probably just not going to get an egg sac. Of course, the male can sometimes get killed, but it doesn't happen very often under supervision in captivity.
For the most part, if you have a female that's not mature, you introduce a male, unless they're starving or something, they're going to pretty much stay away from each other. And now, granted, anything can happen, but that's in most circumstances. Let's see, we had some more people jump on. Go ahead.
The other thing about that is that if you do introduce a female that's just right at the edge of being old enough, or you introduce a male into a female that's just right at being old enough, a lot of times it'll stimulate them to molt, because they're afraid. What do you call that? Their instinct tells them that if they don't get the opportunity to breed at this time, if the males are running around, they may have to wait another year before the opportunity comes up again. So sometimes when you breed an immature female that's just one molt away, they'll go ahead and molt really quick, and
it'll kind of biologically prompt them to go ahead and reach maturity.
So that's something. Just the point is that if you have the opportunity, don't hesitate. Give it a shot. This hobby is going to get to a point where the government right now, I don't know if you guys know, they're doing a HEROES Act with all the COVID stuff, and in that they've snuck in paperwork to make pythons illegal across state lines again. They want to start going after us for the Lacey Act one more time.
Yeah, it's going to modify the Lacey Act affecting fish and reptiles, possibly invertebrates, and I mean it already has affected some species of invertebrates, and yeah, they're just sneaking that in fine print. So everybody's like, yeah, the second stimulus, they need to pass it so we can get more money. But it's not as simple as the media is going to portray, and the government likes to do stuff like that, sneaky.
So we'll be talking about PETA a little while later, but that was just keep, if you have the opportunity to breed, you want to go ahead and try, because it's not going to probably be very long before we're not going to be able to bring anything into the United States anymore. And so all these animals we have in captivity are going to either go away, or we're going to figure out how to captive reproduce them, and that's going to be the only way we're going to keep them in the hobby.
So let's see, Philip Richards came on from Birmingham. Christine from Redstrom Reptiles, out of Rio Rancho. They're all God's creatures, said howdy. Hector Rodriguez from Berlin, formerly from Roswell. Zen Orc Reptiles said hello to everybody. So hey everyone.
And then this one I want you to take.
Okay, so this was Sarah Jean. So this was a viewer that had contacted me about some baby jumping spiders. She's a YouTube viewer. And so she said that she had a few egg sacs of baby jumpers. And just that she wanted to share them with me. And so that was really exciting. So we've been in correspondence a little bit, and I'm making her up a FedEx label. And so pretty soon I'm going to have a lot of super cute baby jumping spiders thanks to Sarah.
But personally, I want to apologize to her because of circumstances out of the Deadly Trench girl's control. She ended up having to make a mad dash the last couple weeks into Texas. She's been back and forth in Texas 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those was basically a 30-hour round trip. Had an emergency, and she had to go visit a friend and come back. So it's not that she's trying to ignore you, Sarah Jean. It's just, I'm sorry, that's my fault and I messed up. I hope you get to see this, and I hope that you accept my apologies.
We love you, Sarah.
So I think these are all emails that we've gotten, and we do enjoy getting emails. It's one of the best ways for us to keep track, because I'm not sure if you guys know, but when we go into comments, once you click on a comment and you expect to go back into it, it disappears. YouTube is not friendly about keeping things to where you can keep track of them, and sometimes things get lost. Hey, John, how's it going, man?
Mm-hmm.
John Feely, Feely's Clutch, you want to check his channel out. Pretty soon we're going to be working together very closely.
Well, we just did a video with
Yes.
John. We drove to his beautiful place in El Paso, right?
And got to see his amazing animals.
Yes.
It's he's working with some really outstanding stuff.
I think one of those videos already came out. Pretty sure.
Okay. We are going to be collaborating on a lot of different things, and really looking forward to it. There's going to be some exciting things coming down the pike here pretty quick. I don't want to bring it on too much, because if any of you know, doing this stuff can get pretty pricey pretty quick. So what we're going to try to do is get the finances figured out and get some stuff. We need more equipment to do what we're going to do. So once we get all that squared away, we'll start rocking and rolling. We'll give you guys the announcement and let you know what's up, and should be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to John. And another thing we're hoping to do, let's see, he says, John Feely said, just the spiders y'all decided to gift my wife. So that's the video that's come out. I don't know if we put out a video or not.
I thought we did.
I'm not sure that we have. I'm behind. I'm supposed to be editing, and I haven't been. Trust me, we've had tragedy left and right, upside down. It's summertime, and things got hot really quick. So we're trying to get we had an air conditioner go out on us, and then we had some turtles that decided to dig out from under the fence. It's just been one of them spring times, which is now almost summer, but so we're working on everything, and we'll get more out to you guys as soon as we can. We've got a lot of stuff recorded, and that's another thing that I want to talk about further on, is some of our ideas for what we're going to do with the videos. We've discussed it with John. John is a really great resource for looking at how we can improve our channels, and we're going to use a lot of his ideas. Mm-hmm. And just want to give him credit for coming up with this stuff, because he can think about things on YouTube that we hadn't even considered.
He's a little bit younger than we are, so he's more tech savvy. He's kind of been our long distance tech support often, and so we thank John a zillion times.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much, John. So what we're going to do is just go down and look at some comments that I see. Melissa Wright commented, am I right in saying they don't have to be fully grown to mate? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the biggest reasons being is that we don't really know when an animal is sexually mature. There's a lot of factors that can be with that. I don't know. There's been stories about hormone treatments actually causing human beings to become reproductive at an age that they shouldn't have been, and of course the animals that they got it from, chickens and cows, that also messes with that. So, and I'm not saying that spiders and snakes and stuff that they have to deal with we have to deal with the hormones, but
some species of frogs have been stimulated to breed through hormone injections.
Yeah.
But speaking of tarantulas, because she's commenting on a tarantula video, they don't need to be as large as they will be. They do have to be sexually mature. On a female, there's not really a distinguishing marker. On a lot of species of males, they'll develop tibial spurs. You'll be able to see them to start dropping sperm webs. But the females, there's really no way to tell until they get the approximate age, approximate size, except for just to try and pair them and kind of see how they behave.
Yeah. So that's Melissa. You're completely right.
Melissa Wright is 100% right.
Exactly. So Rain89 Scarlet commented, "I see two big reasons to subscribe besides of the beautiful tarantulas." And
I'm sure my mind and my heart.
Let's see.
You don't have to read every comment. Screen them.
And we're not trying to give you dead space. We're just
we want to give you the highlight.
Mark de Guzman commented, "Hi, do you have a store so I can visit? I have the species almost a year now, but still small. Are this grow small?" Which I think he's saying, do we have an online website? Not at this moment. We do not. Everything's pretty much going through Facebook, but because of the way Facebook's going, it would be better if you were. Someone just recently asked for a price list, and due to we've had a few spiderling issues, one of which we had 400 come out of an egg sac, and that video is still coming, and it wasn't exactly 400, so you have to look and see exactly how many were. And it's been a crazy spring, and that's why we're doing this and talking to you and trying to catch this. So he's saying that the Chalcodes, it looks like a Chalcodes is what he was talking about just off the thumbnail, and they do grow really slow. So if you're only getting an inch a year out of that spider, don't feel bad, because there are species that grow even slower than that. The one that I'm thinking about is the king baboon. In the 90s, she had one that only grew an inch over 5 years. So that is slow growing.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, feel free to drop some dimes, guys, anytime you want.
So Steve Dingman said he has caught 9 jumpers from around his house and beehives, 5 are jet black and white dots, and 4 zebra white and black, all about the size of his thumbnail, probably a bit over an inch in size. That's actually a pretty decent sized jumping spider. I've seen a few this spring across the border over here, and the ones that we were talking about with that lady, they're actually Phidippus regius, which is the largest species of jumping spider in the world, I believe.
In the world?
No, in the United States.
Continent, yeah.
Yeah. So they're really a species that
highly desirable, with. Yes.
And Tarantula Life, he uploaded a video. So they are all God's creatures, said, "I'll stick with y'all, older and wiser peeps." That's so kind of you, because old and wiser doesn't necessarily mean entertaining, which we're working on.
We try.
Yep.
Let's see. So you guys list in the Steve said BRB chasing kids to bed. Awesome. Yes. So we just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy lives to come and join us tonight. You guys are awesome, and we love having you.
And so Joel Hinkle, that name sounds familiar. I'm not sure why. He said, 1 tarantula, all these babies, and they're still expensive. What he was talking about was the amazing egg sac opening, which was Nhandu chromatus. And it does seem a little strange that so many spiderlings got produced, and the price of them was, I think at the time we were asking $10 a piece for them. I don't remember, but we sold them all within a month. And the guy that we split the egg sac with, he sold them out in like 4 or 5 days. There was just a huge demand for them at that time. And I don't know that a ton of people are reproducing them. I don't know why, but that could be why the price of them has stayed high. And I'm so sorry for that. We try to get everything out to you at the best possible price that we can, but sometimes it's about impossible.
Well, not only that, but we also feel that even if we're in a really great position, like we have a great season, we feel a responsibility not to go and crash the market and hurt our competitors slash peers in the hobby. So just because we have a lot of one species doesn't mean we want to wipe out everybody in the market. We try to stay competitive. We usually go a little lower than some of our competitors, but ultimately it's around the same price. If people want to buy from us, a lot of times they want to buy from us because they're fans, or because they've kind of seen our husbandry, and they sort of feel like they know they're getting a quality animal and things like that. But we make sure not to undercut our competitors, partially out of professional respect. And also, these are living creatures that are of value, other than the fact that they are a product to us as well.
All right. So here's something that I don't know if anybody's done a live on. This is our comments that are held for review. And they're held for review for a couple different reasons. One of which is you're going to see, and some of which are just because there's keywords that we've actually put in because the combination of that word with another word. I'll get to that, why that is there. But we've got it in our held for review comment. When we set up the comment feed, we wanted to make sure that stuff got pulled off before you guys got a chance to see it. So Francisco Delgadillo said, because of you, Exotic Slayer and Tarantula Cat, I want to get my first tarantula, which is an Arizona Blonde. You three have shown me that they are great pets and are amazing creatures. Thank you so much, Francisco. It's a great species. And ironically, I got my first bite yesterday after a few years of dealing with tarantulas, and the spider was that big, and it got me right there, and it hurt.
He was envenomated by a tiny, like a third instar.
So it was a second instar, yeah. So I haven't got my first tarantula bite, and I'm not sure that I'll still count it because it was just so tiny. And I did feel the venom. It was not a huge reaction. It just, after it bit me, it felt a little bit sore for 10 minutes, and then it went away. And she was worried that my finger was going to swell up, and none of that happened. It was just a little bit of uncomfort for about 10 minutes.
I had a little scare with a minor envenomation this spring, so I was like, take your ring off, and he's too tough. He wasn't going to do it.
John Feely says, great, now I'm going to have nightmares, thanks. Trust me, John, those fangs are so tiny, you won't even notice. You're tougher than I am. You got to remember, I'm a very sensitive man. So Stenson said, sorry if I missed it in the video, but after how long do you separate them from the mother? What do you feed the babies? And this is about baby forest scorpions. So what you do is you wait until they basically start leaving the top of their mother, because they'll sit on top of her fur until they molt out into the second instar, I believe. And once they start kind of leaving her and trying to find their own way, that's when you pull them out. So it's not a difficult process. You just got to keep your eyes on it, because if you wait too long, mom's going to eat them.
Yeah.
So sore like a mosquito bite? No, not even that painful. It was just, I could feel that area of my skin almost like if you scratched yourself. That's kind of what it felt like. It didn't feel strong like a bee sting. The venom didn't feel like that at all. It just felt almost like kind of like an itch, but not quite. So Jennifer Seals says, I'm terrified of spiders and your tarantulas scare me to death, but I'm trying to overcome my terror, and I do enjoy the amount of information you give. It does help with the fear, and I'm starting to find some of them beautiful. Terrifying but beautiful. Thank you for sharing and the education you provide. Thank you so much for watching. That's why we do it, and we don't want everybody to be afraid of spiders. Even if you have a healthy discomfort of them, we prefer that you stay away from them than just to kill them outright, because they do us a lot of good. In the wild, they're our first defense against the other insects that can cause us so much more damage. And they're very needed in nature. I mean, that's why they're there.
You should be approving these if they're okay.
Oh, okay. If I do that, is it going to mess anything up?
It'll just change the feed and they'll disappear. No. Click the check mark.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're approving these that we're reading.
That way they can see their comments. Otherwise, people can't go and look at their comments.
So Potato, which I imagine you look like one, said, no, it was, I'm sorry, not Potato. He said, I don't know why I watched this, and I wasn't talking about you as far as how you look, because I don't have any clue. But he said, I don't know why I watched this on the Amazing Egg Sack opening. A lot of people comment like that. They just can't believe. They're as terrified as they are fascinated. It's kind of like a horror movie. And that's okay. We're okay with that. Now, Jin Sang, one day ago, said, oh, shoot, I'm still on Pornhub. Well, aren't you a wonderful little person? And I imagine that little is going to be the biggest thing about you. I'm going to toss that in the trash. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Cole Breda on Amazing Egg Sack opening said, hey, gotta love Carpet Pythons. Thanks for tuning in. We're talking about comments, and now we're in our held for review comments. So we're giving a little bit of some of the stuff that's held that's good and some of the stuff that's held that's bad. Some people love this, others would hate it, maybe puke and would just scream. This Amazing Egg Sack opening, and that's by Cole Breda. And I can respect that. Peace Unity said, what a job you choose to do. OMG. Thank God you are not in my area. Kind of okay with it, except for we it looks like we lost a feed for a second. I'm sorry. There's a storm happening right now, so we may actually go completely black if we lose power. Let's see. Why did you, and then They Are All God's Creatures asked, why did you choose to put the female in the male's enclosure? Did you get babies from this pairing? And that was a giant spider pairing. And I don't really remember exactly why. It could have just been that the male and the female were going so fast that they ended up. Yeah, sorry, Kevin. There is a little bit of a lag. That the male just ended up jumping into the female's enclosure before we could turn it the other way, or putting the female in the male.
Yeah.
Female could have ran into the male's enclosure.
It's not. We don't. Putting the male with the female is preferred, but it's if she goes into his instead. I mean, we like to let things progress as naturally as possible, as far as we can. We don't allow females to cannibalize if we can help it. But yeah, so probably just that's the way it worked out, and we didn't have a major concern.
And that looks like actually held for review, which is pretty mild, because we actually have a local lady that just loves it, loves Marita so much that all she can do is just talk nastiness about her. And we know exactly who she is, and we know where she's from, and she wants to. She's done a couple things, one of which is saying that she's not afraid of me, and
She is.
I have made her cry because she talked some crap about her when I was there, and I let her know that I was less than happy. And her husband is actually a friend of mine. So, well, about 2 months ago, we were in Walmart, and I was on the phone with Earl Jones from Lone Star Reptiles. We were yakking away.
Yes, they do so often.
And Earl, we love you. And sorry I haven't got back to you. We've just been that busy, and we will get back to you. We promise very soon. And this woman actually came up to her. She didn't realize that I was there. And just as soon as she saw me, she stopped and turned around. But it looked like she was, I didn't see it, but tell them what.
Oh, I don't know. She's mental. So we were at the Red Box. I was looking at the movies. He was kind of leaned up against the wall visiting with his BFF. And so she walked up to me and was kind of mouthing obscenities and looked like she was going to charge me, and then saw that he was standing, just a few feet away, and kind of redirected her path. And she's just a very unstable woman medically. So I don't know. I don't know why we would even talk about her other than
She's dumber than a box of rocks,
Mhm.
and I imagine she actually goes. She watches the channel pretty religiously, so I'm assuming that she's going to be watching this. And there was a point where she was banned off of. I think her husband kept her off of her own computer, so she was going over to the neighbor's house and posting nasty comments from his computer. And we reported that, and it took a little while. YouTube was not very
accommodating.
yes, so eventually they did block her on that
Well,
computer
she's
too.
had multiple accounts with which to troll and harass us, and I would imagine lots of people. I mean, she's been in jail and drug rehab and all that multiple times, and I don't know.
She's not the nicest person in the world, and I just want her to know that you can tell me that you're not afraid of me, and you can tell me that you've got big cojones behind the camera, but one of these days you and I are going to run across each other out in public, and we're going to have a little heart to heart about this. And I'm going to make sure that you, if you want to come at me, that's the time to do it. And you better hope that my back's turned when you start, because if you try to come at me to the face and you touch me, it's not going to be pretty. And I don't like hurting women, but this woman is actually to the point where she's physically threatened my wife.
Let's just say, if I were in danger, he would not hesitate to react.
Yep.
How about that?
And this woman just needs to be put in her place. She's not mentally stable, which is unfortunate, but she doesn't need to bring her problems to us. So stay away and learn your place in life. And if you want to be a better person, be a better person, but don't think that you're making yourself a better person by attacking her, because you're not.
Onwards.
Yes, exactly. And I'm looking for a comment, and it was so far buried because it was something that we held that we wanted to discuss, that I was hoping I could find it, but it's too far back. Because somebody likes to keep track of a lot of different things there, it's hard to find information. Can't fix crazy, that's exactly. What else do we want to talk about today?
We were going to talk about the Heroes Act a little bit. We were going to talk about social media a little bit.
So let's read you a little bit of, if you go to usarc.org, and the last time that I was there, it was right on the top. See, Alabama, and they were talking about the Heroes Act. And I wanted to read a little bit about you so that you can understand that they are trying to take away our rights, and it seems to be happening a lot. And this one, because it is in amongst such good things, that it's probably going to get pushed through. And all we can hope is that.
I wonder if you can search that. You can just read it off my post because I copied and pasted from their website.
Do you know how to do that to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's gonna look for that. Brian Gundy, hello. So I guess Tinley, we're hoping to get to visit with Brian Gundy at Tinley.
Well, are you going with us, Brian? I think Brian is gonna. Yeah.
So I didn't know that needed to be announced quite yet. But anyway, hopefully we'll get to see you in Tinley, and hopefully Tinley's going to happen. I don't know if you guys know, but in Texas, they've actually opened up a few reptile shows. There's one supposed to be happening this weekend. I don't know how it's going. And then next weekend, there's going to be another show, and they're doing it like they're allowing half the population, or half, what do they call that?
Like 50% capacity. Yeah. So let's say fire codes say 1,000 people can be in that building. They're going to say 500 people can be at that building at once. So they'll have to count as people come in and go out. And that's not going to include vendors. So that would be that many customers. So it's a good start. So this is the whole, it goes down a ways.
Okay, so I'll just give you a quick rundown on the Heroes Act. buried on pages 1628 through 1635, the latest 1,815 page House Democratic draft COVID-19 relief bill, known as the Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act, HEROES Act, is the text of the Wildlife-Borne Disease Prevention Act. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and utilizing this crisis as a springboard, the act has surfaced as activists to try to conflate the issue of legal and legitimate trade with substandard wet markets and other unrelated potential vectors for zoonotic disease transmission. And there's a puppy going crazy with a broken leg.
He's playing and having fun.
Most troubling of all, the act contains language that would reverse the USARK federal lawsuit victory by reinstating the ban on interstate transportation of species listed as injurious under the Lacey Act. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to sneak in this stuff, and I just want you guys to be aware that it's happening, and you need to do what you can to support this being either reworded or completely put down, so that we can fight to keep our rights. Because I don't know how many people know what a Clean List Act is, but clean lists have been coming up, and what they did in Oregon, which is really interesting. We were fighting it years ago, and that was one of the things we researched was Oregon. So Oregon decided to make a Clean List Act, and in the process of doing that, they forgot to put some things on there. So because there were people that were actually keeping venomous snakes there, it was legal to keep a king cobra, but it was legal to keep a canary because they forgot to put it on there.
Illegal to keep a canary, legal to keep a king cobra, just because some dingbat forgot to put something on the list.
So what that meant is that there were a bunch of 70-year-old ladies that were in violation of a law that could have thrown them in jail for a year and given them $1,000 or $10,000 fine. People don't realize how quickly we can lose our rights.
Those laws can be changed overnight.
Yep. And they did that. They exactly did that in Florida about the tegus. This stuff, that's where they're trying to ban it right now.
And yellow anacondas
came in overnight, and they had already agreed not to do that anymore because they had gotten so much resistance against it with the people, and they said, okay, we won't do this anymore. Next thing you know, like 6 weeks later, it happens again.
So not only are we having our rights taken away, jeopardized, and it hurt conservation efforts, but for the most part, these laws are not written by herpetologists, zoologists, entomologists, people with the knowledge. They're written by legislators, and sometimes even like fish and wildlife officials with almost no rhyme or reason behind the rules other than kind of their own personal preference. So in Florida, for example, yellow anacondas were banned, but not green anacondas. I'm not saying I want green anacondas banned, but where's the rhyme or reason? In New Mexico, on the other hand, there are species that are listed on multiple tiers, like the same species are considered a Class B and a Class C. So it's poorly written. It doesn't make sense. There are animals that are more potentially dangerous that are Class 1 than some animals that are listed as a Class 3. And in a large part, when the animal community, including veterinarians and veterans in the hobby who have true knowledge, genuine experience, have often tried to say, hey, let's collaborate, it's usually met with resistance, and often the laws that don't make sense or just go against the animal keepers, breeders, hobbyists, conservationists, basically our rights are just being jeopardized more and more, which ultimately, more than me having my way, it hurts conservation.
And let me give you a semi-success story about people who actually rose up to the cause. Texas, I don't know how many of you guys know, but Texas is one of the meccas for herping. It's fantastic. It has more species in its borders than any other state in the United States, even Florida, California. And so people go there. I mean, there are people that travel across the world to go and hunt for gray band king snakes. And about years ago, in the last 10 years for sure, they made collecting snakes illegal. And they have a license for it, the whole 9 yards. But what they did is everybody was watching it, and they had it pretty much beat down. They had people in Congress. I can't think of what they call those people that look out for you.
Lobbyists?
Lobbyists. Yeah, they had lobbyists that were saying there and said, no, this is going to die. And what they did, what the government did, is they waited till 3 o'clock in the morning and attached this, making it illegal to hunt snakes in Texas, to a bill to help mental patients. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, they passed it through when basically there was nobody in Congress and they were passing laws. So for 2 years that got fought, and it was illegal to collect snakes in Texas. Now they got it reversed. However, there's a lot more rules. So if you want to collect snakes in Texas, you cannot do it off the road. It's considered.
You can't even, so let's say we snake lovers, we see a snake crossing the road. If we stop and get a hook or our hands and move that snake off the road, we're breaking the law.
And if you run it over, it's perfectly within the law.
Right, yeah. Go ahead and chop its head off, because that's...
Okay. And now you have to wear reflective gear, which it's a great idea. But when they were fighting this, we heard this from one of the guys that lives down in Sanderson. He said that proof, because what they happen on the sides of the road causes car wrecks. Never has it been documented that there was a car accident from somebody pulling over to collect a snake. So even having the proof that this was not an issue, still you cannot do it, just because that was one of the things they wanted to do to limit what can be done in the state of Texas. And if you're a raptor, you can stop on the side of the road if you see something that you want to chase your bird after, and that's perfectly legal. Bless you.
Thank you. And
now I forgot what I was
sorry, didn't mean to sneeze.
No, that's okay. Well,
raptor.
So fighting, the Gotta Love Carpet Python says fighting that here in the community itself to stop people running over snakes on the road. And in Australia, that's a great thing, because there are some really wonderful species out there. And I think that they're still finding a bunch of new species, aren't they? Didn't they just find a new species of king brown or taipan? So some of this stuff, and it was actually a found dead on road snake that was collected where they discovered it. And I don't know, here in the United States, there's actually several places where toads go across the road, and it was actually injuring the populations of the animals in those areas, because so many were getting run over when they were crossing, because their habitat was on one side of the road, and where they bred in the lakes and ponds was on the other. So we've done things as human beings to help them. They created tunnels under the road so they didn't have to cross over the top of the road, and I think it has helped. And we're all about trying to keep conservation going, but some of the stuff that these guys are doing, they're doing it just to try to create more power for themselves and take our rights away. Because whether people realize it or not, since the 90s, the people of reptiles and invertebrates have gathered together, and they've become more and more powerful. Dog and cat people, very rarely do they ever get attacked in the Congress, because they're so powerful that any of that legislation that people try to put through doesn't often pass. Pit bulls, of course, that was something that they were able to do because they said they're such a scary species or a scary breed, and they're not really. I don't like pit bulls, but I certainly advocate for them, because I don't know anybody that's ever been attacked by a pit bull personally, but I know people that have lost their eyes from Cocker Spaniels. Cocker Spaniels are one of the nastiest dogs out there. People love them, and they're a small dog. And very rarely is there any legislation saying you can't have them in any area.
Cute. So how could they be dangerous?
Yeah, I don't like Cocker Spaniels.
Lady from Lady and the Tramp was a Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. And so that's, I think, about as much as we want to talk about the legal stuff. Okay, so now on to some more exciting stuff that John and I have been talking about. What we want to do with our videos now is we want to try to intertwine two stories into one video. So basically, it seems like when you watch Brian Barczyk, he's working one story and that's his main story, and then all of a sudden he'll cut to another thing, and it just kind of helps to flow the video a little bit better and keep it interesting. So we've been talking with John about doing that, and I think we're going to start doing that. We've even thought about going so far as to film some footage like she's getting out of bed, nothing inappropriate, but and then like she's going to bed at night, and maybe introing and outroing our videos,
adding more of a narrative, a little more vloggy style.
Yeah, and so that should be some stuff that you'll be seeing. I might be actually the last footage that we shot was before we started talking about this, so you might actually start seeing some of that, some of our videos that we're putting out, because we do tend to batch our videos. I don't know if you guys know that. We'll plan out what we're going to do, and then spend 5 to 12 hours shooting videos. And even though you're only getting 3 to 10 minutes, there's hours and hours of filming and editing involved with all that. And I'm not telling you that you feel sorry for us or nothing like that. I'm just letting you know that we put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort. So what we're going to try to do is even put a little more work and a little more effort to try to make it more entertaining for you guys, because we really enjoy doing this, and we're trying to bring the information to you guys in a way that is a little bit more
entertaining,
digestible, so that you know the next time that you see a snake on the side of the road, you don't drive over and run it over. You think maybe that one will kill some rodents and leave it alone. That's really what some of our goals is. We want you guys to we want to teach and we want to learn. We're always learning, and John, he's helping us a ton. I mean, just being able to look at it from his perspective has changed the way that we want to do everything. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yes. So we love you, John. You're the man. Well, he's a veteran. He and his wife are both veterans as well. So I mean, amazing. And they have a bunch of really cute kids. Yeah. So thank you so much for your hospitality while we were there. We really like you guys.
And wish we could have spent more time, but because I was getting ready to head out and go to work, that's what cut us out.
So our next destination was actually Cross City Exotics in Las Cruces. Want to give a big shout out to Mike and Lindsay Daniels. Cross City Exotics is an amazing place, and those two are amazing people. Mike is a firefighter, which, you know, whoop whoop to our medical people and firefighters and teachers, of course. No, just kidding. But yeah, Mike and Lindsay are, oh my gosh, their shop is freaking beautiful. It's super duper clean. They are stellar breeders. They're just, oh my gosh, super generous people. We definitely, so we bought, we traded for some stuff. We're getting some children's pythons, a pair.
Why do you have to give all our secrets away?
Oh, that's not gonna happen. I'm excited.
So
I'll just let him talk.
No, that's okay. I want to give you guys a sneak peek. Keep talking about Cross City Exotics. I do want to give you guys a sneak peek of something you're going to be seeing in our videos pretty soon here. I'm going to run out and get it so she can talk more about Cross City Exotics. I'll be right back.
What am I not allowed to say? Probably talked about this before. Say it so I don't say it.
No, just talk about how their breeding programs have been absolutely phenomenal.
Rinse that and get me water, please. Yeah, they're amazing. So they're freaking fantastic breeders. Their place is really beautiful. Oh my gosh. They're really fantastic. I mean, we love their personalities. I really couldn't say, I wouldn't have anything bad to say about them. Obviously, one of our good friends, Kevin, is employed by them. We love Kevin. It's just awesome people all around. I've been there twice, and I could have stayed there all day. We actually do want to go back and do like a whole day with them. Not that they invited to like put us up for the day and hang out with us for a whole day, but we're probably gonna. So we had so much fun while we were there. We came home with some amazing animals, and it was a blast. So I was contacted recently again, which we talk all the time, but by Chris Eaton from Eyeball Pythons, and he does the podcast Snakes and the Fat Man, which is funny. Chris is just one of those guys that just says whatever he wants to say. He doesn't give a crap about what anybody thinks about it. He really enjoys women. He talks about that. And he is a dear friend of mine, but he contacted me a few weeks ago. He said, hey, I'm doing a COVID-19 episode just to kind of like check in with a few people and see what they've been doing during the quarantine and stuff like that. And he said, would you be willing to be on that show? He said, I'm just having a bunch of people do like a 20-minute spot. And I said, yeah, definitely, I can do that. And so we did like a web call on a Friday night. Oh, look at him. Isn't he adorable? Look at that guy. Oh, so can you guys see his tongue? Show him again. So if you don't know what this is, oh, look at that. Look at that little pink squirmy thing on his tongue. So this is an alligator snapping turtle, obviously, if you didn't know that. And nothing as cute as kids. Let's see, can't sell anything bigger than, so alligator snappers and snapping turtles, common snapping turtles, they are opportunistic feeders. So they lie in the water and they sit there with their mouths open, and that little pink lure on their tongue just kind of like wriggles around in the water, and then fish or whatever's in the water, they're like, ooh, there's a little pink worm, I'm gonna eat that. Swims right into their mouth, and then those powerful jaws just chomp down. Not adorable or cute, but I like them. Well, Brian thinks he's cute. I think he's cute too. He needs a name. Maybe we'll name him Gundy. What do you think? Brian Gundy said he was cute. Should we name your turtle Gundy?
Maybe we should name him Brian Gundy.
Oh, I like that. We'll call him BG. What do you think, Brian? We have those in Texas. Yes, there are indigenous alligator snapping turtles in Texas. Yeah, so anyway, Chris contacted me about being on the COVID episode. And then, oh, geez. Oh, now we have to name him. Now we have to name him Brian Gundy.
John Feely agrees.
Yeah. So, I did the interview with Chris, which I had been on a show before, and he'd been on my show before. Probably have him on again. And so that episode just came out
this week.
Yeah.
Or last
Friday or something.
Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a 4-hour episode because it's like a collaboration with a bunch of people. And I found out he was like doing it like all the big dogs of the reptile world, which, oh, okay. So it was me, Mark Mandic, JT from Reptichip, Ozzy from Ozzy Boids. It was JKR, Justin Kavelka. Was Brian Cusco on it? Do you know?
I haven't even seen. We've tried.
Yeah, we've started listening to it, but we haven't gotten to the me part yet. So Chris is very more entertaining than me. So I decided to have one drink. And Chris messaged me and said, you were hammered. Oh, it was hilarious. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk about that too. So I guess that his right-hand man, what's his name?
Donato?
Oh, is in love with my wife.
Oh, I don't know that I'd say that.
I know that Chris is too. So
I wouldn't say that.
This is for you.
Oh.
If you can take her, she's yours. But you're gonna have to kill me first. So.
And he's strong.
But no, he's a great guy, and that was so far what we heard has been pretty fantastic.
It has been really good. So we've heard. So first he had
Mark Van.
no. First,
JT.
before that, so all the Black Lives Matter stuff. Oh,
Right.
Duncan, I think he had Duncan on the show, so they could talk about all the Black Lives Matter, all the protesting that's going on. So that ended up being kind of the intro to the show. So we've so far listened to JT and Mark, and I think that's as far as we've gotten.
We've got a few minutes into Ozzy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't got to hear much from him yet. Another thing about that is that the Black Lives Matter is the one thing that nobody seems to be pointing out about this is that the police are something to be afraid of right now. They are not. I'm not a fan of the police, not at all. They've done some pretty terrible things to her, some things that are unforgivable, and it's not even. It's so bad that I won't even mention what happened, but it was bad.
I didn't know we were gonna go there.
And you guys need to be aware that to try to stay within the laws, and even in that, you're not safe. All this stuff that's going on right now is just absolutely crazy. But make sure that you stay safe, stay strong, and don't give up your rights. They want to take our rights away, and a lot of people think that it's a good idea. And anytime rights get taken away, they're just about impossible to get back. So we need to keep that in mind. This medical thing is just crazy, and hopefully it'll all work out. But the conspiracy theories that I've heard are just downright scary because they seem very plausible. Now on to the next part of it. What else are we going to talk about? So we talked about the videos. Oh, do you guys have any questions, anything that we might be able to answer?
Yeah.
If you guys, we just got in a brand new book. Been waiting for it for a while. It's Giant Snakes that Tom Crutchfield and another guy did, and it is. I'm only a chapter into it, and it's fantastic. They're breaking it down to the point of how people feel about snakes, where snakes came from. Going Youper, Fitz Family Constrictors just showed up. Hello, welcome. And he said, just got here, but I agreed, keep our rights. I will be. And I hope you all stay strong about this. Don't let the government control us. And it's going to take everybody. It's not going to just take a few people. We've all got to be strong.
Brian's asking about your Atrox bite.
Rattlesnake bite is good. I got bit right here. And as you can see, there's
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, no physiological effects. The only thing I have is my thumb does not completely straighten out. It has a little bit of a kink to it, but that could be, I've got other fingers to do that, so it could just be an injury. And there's no way to say that it was from the bite. And I'm glad. The people that took care of me took great care of me, and I thank them for that. And yep. So it was an experience that I don't want to repeat. And $250,000 later, we're here, and I'm healthy and safe and glad. So Dave Spiders and things says he doesn't think they're just theories. Any tingling? No, absolutely nothing. I can feel. Being a diabetic, I have a lot of drums on my thigh, probably hit 1,000 times, and it has that tingling that you're talking about, the neurological, and in the hand there's none, not at all. I'm so thankful that I have zero problems from it. So again, I cannot express Dana Savarelli and Dr. Hack for developing that Venom Lock, because I believe the Venom Lock is the reason that I am so healthy. And there's no after effects at all a year and a half after the bite. And basically after, I think, about a month, the swelling went completely down and nothing after that. So it was a good deal. It could have been a lot worse. And I don't know, I mentioned it last time, but we have two friends that have actually been bitten by Atrox, and both of them got compartment syndrome, and they've got big scars coming down their arms right here where they actually had to cut them because the blood flow was getting cut off to their extremities. Thank you so much, Brian. What was I talking about? Oh, questions. If you guys have any questions about the book. So if you, I don't know how the world's working right now, but as you can see, we like books and we still collect books.
Mhm.
And I would prefer to have a hard copy of something in front of me than going to Google, because Uncle Google doesn't know it all, especially when you're asking about reptile stuff and tarantula stuff. There's a lot of theories out there, but sometimes it's better to have something that's been peer reviewed. And these books are, oh man, you're bitten by a Northern Pacific. Did you have any compartment syndrome, or do you have any numbness or tingling? Or you need to do a video about that,
Yeah,
Brian.
we want to hear that story.
Yeah, and how long ago was that? Um, so this book, I haven't even got to the pictures yet, which I really like pictures of my books. So I don't know. We got a book here called the Guy de Miguel's, which is one of the first books that was a really good photographic tarantula book. Came out in the 90s or the 80s, and it was all in French, but the pictures were so beautiful that you didn't care if you couldn't read it or not. I mean, if you're French, you read it. I couldn't. And then I've got a Japanese book that was the same. Oh, it was about 30 years ago. Did you have any effects from it? And do you still have any effects from it? I have a friend at work that she got bit by a Western Diamondback last year in the summertime. And she said she got bit on her ankle because she walked out in her yard and it bit her. And she said she still got a little bit of numbness in her foot from it. Oh my. So Brian Gundy says he went into anaphylactic shock and went into a coma for 3 days. I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry to hear
gosh.
that. Did you have anti-venom, and was it this is something that I didn't know until I went to had this bite. Was they saying that they actually now are building the anti-venom with genetic properties in it so that there isn't so much of an allergic reaction to it, which I had no idea. I had never heard that before. And 30 years ago, they were probably still using horses or
Hmm.
eggs to develop that. Were you allergic to the antivenom or anything like that? Man, that's scary. And where'd you get bit at? Was it in your leg or your hand? Another thing that I've heard, I ran across a guy one time. He was missing the tip of his finger, and he said it was from a rattlesnake bite. And that's where I learned that a large percentage of rattlesnake bites, alcohol is involved.
Hmm.
So if there's a rattlesnake out there and you think you want to impress your friends, you probably impress them more by just staying away from the snake. He got bit on his left index finger. Wow, that's kind of scary. Are you able to move that finger, or is it frozen? Yes, and let's see what else. We've got a big announcement, and I'm kind of holding off to say that. Um, but maybe this is the time, huh?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Deadly Tarantula Girl is going to be going dark. Um, we've come to the point now where we have so many people trying to contact her that it's getting to a point where she wakes up in the middle of the night stressed because people from overseas are contacting her, which we love. Don't she loves it, but it's overwhelming. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna be taking down all of our social media except for YouTube, and we're gonna be keeping up TikTok due to Gary Vee.
Yeah, recommendations by Gary Vee.
Yep. So if you want to contact her and you're not part of her immediate family, the point of contact is going to be deadlytarantulagirl@yahoo.com. And what that's going to do is it's going to streamline everything so that we can get to everybody a little bit quicker.
If you want a price list, you have a question about animals, instead of trying to go through DMs and PMs and emails and all this different, Snapchat messages that disappear, and if I glance at it, it's going to be all either viewer comments, emails, or people don't really contact me through TikTok, but they could. And yeah, just to kind of focus our energy on content creation and try to streamline the business a little bit.
The other reason that we're deciding to do this is because Facebook recently, meaning in the last year and a half, 5% of it was bought by
PETA.
yeah, PETA. And Brian Gundy says that his finger works just fine, which I'm so glad to hear. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. Um, PETA now doesn't want. PETA is not about. It's called the PETA stands for the
People's ethical treatment of animals.
something like that, and their primary agenda has nothing to do with animals. They're actually a political agenda, and they say it in their mission statement. And they don't care about animals one way or the other. All they want is the power that it brings them. And what they do is they hit these little old ladies that have a lot of money and tell them, oh, these poor little animals are suffering in humane in homeless shelters, and if you give them money, then we can take care of that. And they actually use a lot of that for their own agendas, not for the care of the animals. So
Statistically, PETA has euthanized more animals than any other organization, including the Humane Society, who, of course, has to euthanize animals in many circumstances.
unfortunately, and we do not condone that at all. We believe that if you buy an animal, it should be for life, and if you can't keep it for life, then you need to find it another life home. That's just the way it needs to be. But PETA is not good for us. It's not good for reptiles. And as far as Facebook, I don't know if you guys know, but you can't sell animals on Facebook anymore. It'll get you banned, and we don't want to support them anymore.
Well, a lot of times you can't even post messages or announcements or even photos of animals. I know a Savannah cat breeder who actually had multiple, so she has a cattery, a small, reputable cattery. She had multiple groups taken down, posts taken down. They just kept banning her. She was showing pictures of her kittens just to, because people love seeing Savannah cats. She wasn't selling them. She wasn't doing anything against the rules. And they kept assaulting her for no reason other than she was posting photos of cats.
So we're done with it. We decided that we don't want to support them anymore. And personally, I'm not a Facebooker. I've never had an account on Facebook, and I don't enjoy Facebook. I've always thought that it was a little too scary. When I started hearing about people getting fired because of stuff they were posting on their Facebook page, that told me that I'm too old for this. I've lived this long without it. I can live longer. So it's a great way to network, and a lot of people go to her on that page or on that site, but it's just too much. We're getting overwhelmed. And don't get me wrong, we want all of you to stay in contact with us. We just want to be able to manage it so that we can get back with you, because people get very upset when you don't get back to them, and I understand it completely, but it's hard when you're getting it from so many different directions. We want to be able to.
We're still a very small operation. We're hands on deck every day. I mean, it's me taking care of the animals every day and trying to answer viewer comments. And so we need to streamline it. And um, I'm gonna miss being in touch with other animal lovers, and that's the way I kept in touch with my dance community. But anyone who's close with me has my phone number, and the rest of you do keep in touch with us. The YouTube has a page where you can kind of post announcements and photos, and so I'll probably do that a little more. But we're shutting everything else down.
Yep. And hope what we're hoping
Watch
for.
our TikToks. That'll be a way to see. I post every day to kind of see what I'm up to day to day.
And we I keep losing my train of thought. This is really important because we don't want to lose contact with any of you, and it does hurt me thinking that we might risk that. But what I was thinking is that because of all this that's gone on in the last several months, is I think that there's such a huge output of social media content that it's hard for people to decide what it is that they want to see, and they're getting inundated with data that they don't necessarily want or might only be on the fence about. So I think that if we streamline the data that we're giving, it'll help people when they're looking for something from the Daily Tarantula Girl, it'll be easier for them to find. Now, one of the things that was a concern brought up today that I hadn't even thought of is that she's going to be hopefully going to Tinley, and
If there's a Tinley, we're going. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been invited by the organizers. Our airfare, our rental house is paid for.
so she's worried that maybe if she quits doing so much social media, that people won't recognize her when she's there, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. And it's not that she's thinking, oh, I want to be famous. It's not like that. She just wants to. She wants to get the full experience of Tinley, and it sounds like Tinley is a pretty amazing show. Everybody that's gone there, I don't know anybody that said, didn't really like Tinley.
It's the show in the
Yeah.
country.
So we're hoping to.
I just want to stay current with you guys, but on the other hand, I want to do what we do. I want to do it well, and I'll be honest with you, I'm overwhelmed by everything. So, also, I've kind of recommitted to writing one of the novels we've been working on for a while. So, my computer time's going to be a lot of writing and not back to viewers working on our novel. So I'll be able to check YouTube, check TikTok, check our email, and then get to work on writing.
I want to share the first chapter with you.
No, it's not ready. Okay, I promise I'll polish it so you can do
I
that
could have
soon.
sworn you told me that you were going to do that before today, so I could
No,
share.
no. I said before you leave again.
Well, this story is really good. And the way that she writes, she has so many talents, and being able to keep entertainment with just words, it's really complex because you're trying to picture someone's mind of what she's really good at. Commend her for that, and she's using it, and that's where some of this energy is going to be going to. It's been going to try to keep in contact with everybody, and it's just bringing her down. So hopefully you guys will still continue to watch and still enjoy the content. And if you need to get a hold of us, we are still available through email, and we will try to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Zenorc Reptile said, I agree, bro. I am not a fan of Facebook myself. I have one just because I figured I needed one. I prefer Instagram. So Instagram has been very popular too, and I don't really understand why, because it doesn't seem like there's a financial reason for it unless you're one of the top 1%. And whereas YouTube, if you put your work in, you get your 1,000 subscribers, you get your view time up, you can actually receive a little paycheck. And believe me, when we first got our first paycheck, it was wonderful. And I wanted her to get something that she could wear on camera with our very first paycheck.
So I did.
Yeah, she bought shoes. And you know how many times we filmed her shoes in a video?
Oh, just kidding, like twice.
So,
I didn't mean to get the floor. There was your boot. Okay.
So I was a little bit upset about that, but it was still, I mean, she had the money and she spent it on something she wanted, and it was through the hard work of putting videos up on YouTube and putting herself out there, and I commend her for it. And I think she's done a fantastic job, and I really enjoy it.
Christina said she's going to Tinley. So, Christina, you better hug me when you see me. Hopefully you'll know my face, even though I'm not on Instagram and Facebook and all that.
And John, you need to go.
Yeah, John, go.
And another thing that I want to talk about with John is one of the things we've been talking about, and I want to set it in stone, but we just can't yet, is we want to go to YouTube Space LA together. We actually have gotten all the clearance to do it. I actually drove there and did the training. I spent 32 hours. I spent 32 hours driving there for a 3-hour orientation just so that we could do it.
Ironically, I was already in California. I was like flying over him as he was driving there.
And here's something that embarrasses me a little bit. So we get there and we're standing at the door, and we've been driving for 16 hours. I was with another friend, and he was keeping me awake, and we both had to pee really bad. I mean, we've been on the road for hours, and we had just gone through the traffic of LA, which if you've never done that before, don't. It's scary. It is really scary. So we both had to pee a little bit. So we begged, because you had to. It's not like you could just walk through the door. They actually have security there, and you've got a process you got to get through. So finally they let us in. We get to the restroom, and there's this strange symbol on the door, and I don't even remember what it looked like. All I know is that it didn't say boy or girl. And I asked somebody, they said, yeah, it's a bathroom. So we go in there, and there's stalls, and they're locked stalls, or they're like a wooden stall around the toilet. We walk in there. I go pee. My friend goes pee, and it takes me a little bit longer. And by the time I get out, he's sitting there, and he's got a puzzled look on his face, and he says, there was a girl right next to us in the bathroom. And we learned that that symbol means it's for boys or girls, and had no idea that that even existed in the real world. We'd heard that it had been talked about, but never seen it in real
We
life.
live in a very rural area.
Yes. And so I go to wash my hands, and I go to the counter, and there's like 30 dispensers sitting there. And I'm like, what is all this stuff? So I start squirting some on my hand, and it's all liquid, and it's spraying, and it smells like mint. And I look at the bottle, it's mouthwash. They actually have mouthwash just sitting there in the restroom. So, but it was really cool. We got to walk around the YouTube Space LA, and there was actually one of the scenes from
one of the Aliens movies.
yeah, Alien Covenant, I think, where they walk in the room, and there was all this primitive stuff. It was supposed to all be like from thousands of years ago written, and it's all made out of styrofoam, and they had it sitting in one of their studios. And we went with a group of people. It was like probably 20 or 30 people in the orientation, and we're walking by, and one of the girls turns around. She says, hey, that was somebody. I don't know who it was. She said she's a really big YouTuber. So it was really cool that we have the ability to interact with different YouTubers. And what we really want to go there for is we want to be able to sit down in the they've got like an area where you can go and just hang out, because they have different studios that you can rent time with, and then they have an area where you can go and edit, and then they have an area where people just can sit down,
They have a free coffee bar.
and that's what she cares about the most. Which,
No, I mean not the most, but like they have a refrigerator with snacks.
so we want John to come with us on
Yeah.
that, because his technical knowledge is going to help us out. I mean, you can even rent a YouTube Red camera there. If any of you guys know what that is, that's like a $30,000 or $60,000 digital camera.
Like
and
100,000.
yeah, and you have to actually go through I think a 2-day training for
So
that. But
the way it is, so it's for approved content creators. It's they have multiple filming studios with all the equipment, lights, everything you can need, and multiple editing suites. That is all full access to content creators. Just in thanks for what we do as faithful YouTubers. So when we finally hit 10,000 subs, we became eligible. And so that's when he went and did the orientation and all that.
And we've been trying to book it. We tried to book it last year in August, and that time gets booked so quickly that we missed it. And so we told John, we asked him if he would come with us. He said, sure, I'll do it. So just as soon as we can, just as soon as it opens back up, which of course, because of the way things are now, it's closed down. We want to get there, and we want to shoot some video and
Coffee.
really look forward to it. So
I'm gonna have coffee.
all right. And I guess that's about it for today. If you guys have any questions, please email us at deadlytarantulagirl@yahoo.com. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And who's the lady that was sending us jumping spiders?
Sarah Jean.
Sarah Jean, we will get that shipping label to you, and we're so sorry that there's been a delay. You have to blame me, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I hope you guys all stay safe, and we really enjoy spending time with you, and we hope you like these lives. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna try to do them at least once a month, hopefully twice a month, just depending on our time schedules, because things are about to get crazy for us in a lot of different ways, and that's going to cause a little bit of hubbub. And once we get through that, then things will get pretty steady again. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we look forward to hearing from you, and keep watching for content. We'll be getting it out there.
Love you guys. Thank you, everyone who was here on the live. We especially love Chrissy Ian, John Feely, Brian Gundy, Earl Jones. Yeah, you guys are kind of our main squeezes right now.
Yes, and we're really looking forward to meeting you all. If you ever see, another thing that's been coming up is if you ever see her at a show, please come up and talk to her. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid. We've gotten comments all the time about people who are afraid to come.
Like after, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you," and I was like, "Did you say hi?" People do that. They're like, "I saw you at the store." I'm like, "Did you?" No, I don't know why. I'm not scary. Come on, I'm not scary.
So please come and say hello. We look forward to hearing from you all any way possible.
Yes, love you guys.
Take care.